My name is Yleana Escobar.
And you're part of a rescue where?
We're not a rescue, we're actually an advocacy group that comes out into the Redlands to feed the dogs that are either abandoned or what I like to call is free roaming.
Nice.
They're roaming in the area, and we basically come, feed, see if they need medical attention, see if they need rescuing, take pictures, and then put them on Facebook and basically network the dogs so that they can find homes.
So is it true that people are abandoning dogs down in South Miami?
Yes, people are abandoning dogs all over Dade County.
And why is this happening?
Well, I think the biggest problem is that there's a very big fear that animals are going to be euthanized upon entry at the county shelter. That's one reason. The other reason is because they feel that if they take them out to the country, that somebody will pick them up and give them a home. And I guess also it's a lot easier just to drive by and let an animal out of the car.
So what they don't realize is that many other people are also doing the same thing.
Exactly. And they also don't realize that people don't necessarily want animals dumped in their area. So animals are being poisoned. Animals get hit by cars. They don't really see the big picture. And I also think that some people get desperate. They don't realize that if they go through the proper channels, that perhaps these dogs could find homes or could find rescues if they did that. We also have incidences where people steal other people's dogs or want to get back at their neighbors for one thing or another. So it's a very easy drop off. There's no surveillance, and the people in this area are so used to it, they really don't call the police when the animals are dropped off. So it's an easy way out of whatever problem they may be having with the animal.
Do you think the problem could be solved with education, and what would the education
Most
be?
definitely a couple of things. Enforcement of laws that are already on the books would probably be very helpful. Leash laws, spay and neuter law. We don't have spay and neuter legislation, but we do have spay and neutering available to people at a low cost. They just don't know about it. These folks out here don't realize that.
Where can they get that low cost?
They can get the
Sure.
low cost spay and neuter through three big agencies. One would be Miami-Dade Animal Services, which has 3 locations where they can do that. The Humane Society of Greater Miami, which not only has 2 facilities, but also has spay and neuter mobiles. And they also have Project SNP. So there are programs available. The people that need to know may not access them because many of the areas out here are run by farm workers that may not be legal aliens, and that brings a whole other layer of why they may not want to go to a public agency and sign up. You know, the other issue is that all animals that are spayed and neutered here also have to have rabies vaccines, and they have to pay a $35 licensing fee. And once the county has that information, they can use it against you the following year or years subsequent to put liens on your properties and things like that. So many of them will not register their dogs.
Do you think commercial sale of dogs is part of the problem? Breeders and
That could be, that is a problem, but I think the mass majority is the idea that none of these animals are getting spayed and neutered, and it's just perpetuating the problem out here, as you can see with all the puppies and mamas we've picked up.
Sure. There are dozens of dogs in the Florida area. I mean, Central Florida, Northern Florida. What would you say to those groups?
Pretty
About the
much,
issue down
as far as the groups are concerned, we have beautiful dogs out here that are basically getting hit by cars, living out on the street, as you've seen, living in nurseries, that could really be great family dogs rather than, you know, if they have space available in their shelters, it would be a really nice idea to come out and maybe help us out a little bit. And 2 or 3 dogs, that would be great.
What,
Major dogs,
yeah.
like you guys,
What would you recommend as safe procedures for them?
as far as coming out
As
here.
far as, where and what not to do?
Well, most
and
definitely
is it
come out
common
with
sense?
somebody that knows the area, that knows the people. They can contact any of us, and we would be more than happy to let them know. If they contact us early, they see a dog that they like, we will actually facilitate the actual transition, whether it's through transport or holding an animal for them in quarantine while they make arrangements. You know, depending on the situation, we can help them. It is a real problem. It's a problem that we're trying to bring attention to. I think we're making a nice plea, and I think the word is getting out. We have people from all over the United States that are actually responding, even though we would really like the effort to stay within Florida, so that we can keep track of the dogs and make sure that they don't, you know, that we don't have an issue outside of here that we can't respond to. Because the law enforcement agencies have other issues that they're dealing with, this is going rampant because if they were doing what they needed to do and these people were cited or at least warned, then maybe they wouldn't be as flexible in letting animals just roam into their properties as they do, not vaccinate, neuter. I think probably what will come to a big problem is if we get rabies in the county. And that might actually get somebody to act. Not that I want that to happen.
Right.
That's a devastating thing, but it's happened in other counties with cats. And I think that eventually that will be what will happen because less and less of these dogs are getting vaccinated. So again, you know, it's being perpetuated because the powers that be are letting it happen.
Is there a website or phone number you would like to give?
Okay, actually, right now I believe that the Rock Pit page is up on Facebook.
Oh, perfect.
So it's Redland Rock Pit Abandoned Dog Project, and through there they can PM any of us on that page, and we'll get back to them actually within seconds of getting the PM.
So they can search for that on Facebook or Google and
On
find it.
Facebook, yes.
Okay, perfect.